Hey everyone, my name is Jen Quirk, and I wish I could be there with you in person, but I can't tonight. I'll see you next time. But I just wanted to share a little bit of my perspective on the nutritional component that we can be incorporating, into everything that we do to get it into the school systems, to be educating parents, right? To be educating the kids. Because I feel like if somebody's nutrition is not there, so many things go awry, right? Physically, emotionally. And then all of a sudden, we have a kiddo sitting there who isn't even close to live up to their potential, right? They're working through like a lot of like caca, right? That's going on in their brains that's keeping them from focusing. Perhaps they're just not thinking well because they're not focused, they're groggy, right? If they wake up and they eat a bunch of crap in the morning, that's just going to set in by the time they get to school, right? And they're not going to be able to focus that well. What I've found, so in my previous life, I was a teacher for a few years, right? And then I went on to some more entrepreneurial things with my husband, like running parasail operations and flipping houses. But, my passion is in working with children. And I've kind of come around full circle to where I'm working with them now again, as well as adults. But what I'm finding is that just switching up nutrition makes all the difference in the world. And you've probably felt that with yourself too, right? But wouldn't it be cool if, within the schools, we could be advocating and teaching and empowering kiddos like what good nutrition looks like, how they can be supportive of making better choices at home, right? Because sometimes the parents don't really know what it is. And in all honesty, sometimes it's easier for kids just to be picking off the shelves, right? Than mom or dad, cutting up veggies, having fruits and, fruits available to them. It's hard. It can become expensive and sometimes kids don't have access to that. So I am not a nutritionist, but like I know that my sister-in-law, like she always wanted to go out there and cooking with grains, like she's like it would cost me nothing to provide nutrition for people. I mean, whether or not they'd eat it, right? Because that's something that somebody has to get used to. But there are so many different options out there. And the one specialty that I'm super, oh my gosh, it consumes me right now is what's new to me is the connection between the gut and the brain, right? So the gut and the brain connected by the vagus nerve. I know we have experts within this community that can go a little bit more in depth into it, but it's a real thing. And when there's anything awry with that gut brain connection, it just makes it really hard for people to do the things that they want to be doing, could be doing, should be doing. Okay. So let me give you a for instance of what I'm talking about. So my daughter had some really significant digestive issues. She had IBS with a possible SIBO, which is a bacterial overgrowth. Those things triggered anxiety and depression. Okay. So she was a teen at the time. And, I've got a lot of connections. I've got a lot of background knowledge, right? And even doing elimination with foods. So eliminating gluten, eliminating dairy, eliminating sugar, she was still experiencing like all those symptoms. And that's kind of a scary thing as a parent, right? But at least it was on my radar, right? That I then knew that digestive issues actually trigger the anxiety and the depression for more than, I mean, it was more than just because, bloating doesn't look great on a teen, right? That was concerning. But the majority of your happiness hormones, right? The serotonins, the dopamines, the wonderful GABAs and neurotransmitters created in your gut. So when there's any issue going on in the gut, you're going to feel kind of those low level, maybe it's not having as much stress resilience. Maybe it's not having as much focus. Maybe you have some anxiousness. Maybe you have some depression. And what I've been finding is that we've been able to clear up a lot of those issues just by utilizing certain protocols to heal the gut and to make that connection between the gut and the brain that much more stable. So there's some really exciting things out there. And along that same line, and then I'll probably leave you with that, right? Because this is what's the most exciting. And I'll give you an update. I'm trying to get into some more spheres of people in this demographic. But after my daughter had such tremendous success, I was seeing that there were kiddos who were on the spectrum utilizing the same protocol that she did, getting some amazing results. So I'm kind of I need to see it to believe it, right? Kind of firsthand experience kind of girl. So I reached out to my cousin who has a kiddo that's on the spectrum. And, she just, she looked into ingredients and that type of thing. And she's like, yeah, this is clean. This is great. Why not? Let's just add it in. What if healing up Michael's gut, what if, and she didn't know exactly what everything was doing, but it all made sense to her. What if it could help him? Right. And what we found is that as soon as 3 days into it, he was doing some things that she had never seen him do before. And now we're a whole year into it. And literally, Michael is doing things that she never, ever thought she'd see him do in his lifetime. So that's so exciting. So that's kind of what I'm trailblazing over here. And so I'm here to just support everything that Amber is doing. I'm so excited about it because I am, being a former teacher, I actually was a homeschool mom too. Right. So I stopped teaching probably a couple years into it, like I told you. And then I did the homeschooling a little bit when the kids were younger. I did it a little bit in high school. I've had my daughter in different private schools, so I've kind of experienced the whole every experience probably that you could ever have. So I'm a big proponent that things do need to be fixed. I think that nutrition is kind of that foundational that needs to be addressed because when you have kiddos sitting there who can't communicate well, who can't focus, who have behavior problems, what I am finding is that a lot of it stems down to nutrition, right? Especially that gut. And I think just to get that on the radar and just to be empowering them, I mean, it was so, oh my gosh, when my kids were little, I knew they'd be starving coming home from school and like eat anything. So I call them party platters and I had cut up veggies and fruit and, whatever other, healthy thing that I had, and they would just gorge on it. So that was one way that I could get things in. So maybe, come up with, different tips and tricks for kids to bring home to their parents because parents need to be educated too. I mean, we don't love to see our kids struggling. And I know firsthand, behavior problems, a lot of it is their nutrition, 100%. You take some of the things out and incorporate some, healthier choices in, and you see total 360s, especially things with attention deficit. That's a whole other thing. Oh my goodness. Just nutritional changes, incorporating things like saffron, amazing. Like you see kids getting off of Ritalin, right? And onto good nutrition and things like saffron, which are super, super powerful, and having much better results than kind of being drugged out on things like Ritalin. So, anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of the meeting. That was a little bit long, and I look forward to meeting everybody. And again, sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but yeah, I'll meet you guys all soon.